One crisp autumn morning, Sammy, a curious and imaginative little boy, was playing in his garden with his favorite toy, a bright yellow toy excavator. The garden was full of fallen leaves and colorful flowers, a perfect place for Sammy to dig and imagine grand adventures. He loved pretending to uncover buried treasure or build grand castles in the dirt. As Sammy scooped up piles of dirt with his excavator, he noticed a small, bushy-tailed squirrel darting across the lawn. The squirrel stopped, sniffed the air, and began digging furiously under the old oak tree. Its tiny paws flung dirt in all directions, and its tail twitched with determination. "What are you doing, little squirrel?" Sammy asked, crawling closer to get a better look. The squirrel paused and looked at Sammy with its shiny black eyes, holding a puzzled expression as if deciding whether to trust him. Then, as if making up its mind, it resumed digging with even more urgency. "Are you looking for something?" Sammy guessed. He watched as the squirrel's tiny paws worked hard, kicking up dirt, but finding nothing. The little boy tilted his head thoughtfully and said, "Maybe I can help." Sammy picked up his toy excavator and wheeled it over to the oak tree. "This is my digger. It can dig faster than you," he explained. The squirrel twitched its tail, seeming intrigued, and stepped back to watch with cautious curiosity. Sammy started digging carefully, scooping up dirt with the small excavator bucket. The squirrel scampered close, inspecting every pile of dirt Sammy moved. It sniffed the ground where Sammy dug, its nose twitching as if searching for a scent. After a few minutes, Sammy hit something solid. "What's this?" Sammy exclaimed, dropping his excavator and using his hands to uncover a small stash of acorns. The squirrel squeaked excitedly and hopped closer, grabbing an acorn with its tiny paws. It turned to Sammy as if to say thank you, its tail flicking happily. "You're welcome, little squirrel," Sammy laughed. "Is this what you were looking for?" The squirrel chirped again and stuffed the acorn into its cheeks before darting to a nearby spot and digging furiously once more. Sammy quickly understood. "You hid more acorns, didn't you?" Sammy asked. "Okay, let's keep digging." The boy and the squirrel spent the next hour working together. Sammy used his excavator to dig, and the squirrel sniffed and searched. Each time they uncovered a hidden stash of acorns, the squirrel squeaked with delight, and Sammy cheered. The squirrel's enthusiasm was infectious, and Sammy couldn't stop laughing at how happy his furry friend looked. At one point, Sammy's mom came out to check on him. She stood on the porch, smiling at the sight of her son and the squirrel working together. "Are you making a new friend, Sammy?" she called. "Yes, Mom. We're finding treasure," Sammy shouted back, waving his excavator in the air. His mom chuckled and went back inside, leaving them to their adventure. As the sun rose higher in the sky, Sammy and the squirrel had uncovered several small piles of acorns. Sammy placed them all in a neat pile under the oak tree. He even built a small wall of dirt around the pile to keep it safe. When they finished, the squirrel sat beside the pile of acorns, nibbling on one while keeping an eye on Sammy. The boy sat back, brushing dirt off his hands and smiling. "You're a good digger," Sammy said, "but I think we make a great team." The squirrel twitched its ears and scampered over to Sammy, placing a single acorn near his shoe. Sammy's eyes widened. "Is this for me?" he asked. The squirrel's tail flicked again, and it darted back to its pile. Sammy held the acorn carefully, feeling like he had just been given a special treasure. It wasn't just an acorn to him, it was a sign of trust and friendship. The next morning, Sammy ran out to the garden to see if the squirrel had returned. To his delight, the little creature was there, inspecting the pile of acorns they had uncovered the day before. Sammy grabbed his excavator and joined the squirrel, ready for another day of digging. This time, Sammy decided to make things even more fun. He used his toy excavator to create small tunnels and ramps around the oak tree, imagining it as a grand squirrel kingdom. The squirrel seemed to enjoy exploring the tunnels, sniffing and hopping through them as if testing Sammy's construction skills. Sammy's mom came out again, this time with a small plate of apple slices. "For your friend," she said, handing them to Sammy. The squirrel hesitated at first, but eventually nibbled on an apple slice, chirping happily. From that day on, the squirrel became a regular visitor to Sammy's garden. Each time it came, Sammy would grab his toy excavator, ready to help dig. The two unlikely friends turned every visit into an exciting treasure hunt, filled with laughter and teamwork. Sammy learned that helping others, no matter how small, could create wonderful friendships and make even the simplest days extraordinary. And every time he looked at the little acorn on his windowsill, he remembered that kindness always leaves a lasting mark. As autumn turned to winter, Sammy watched from his window as the squirrel busily prepared for the colder months. He couldn't wait for spring, knowing his furry friend would return, ready for new adventures in the garden. The end.